Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Steve Murray with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. We're going to talk today about Retirement Boss Radio. The coach, Dave Pimper, president of Lazarus Coaching and the head of Calton and Associates. He does a substantial amount of personal production, and much of that personal production now is derived from his work on Retirement Boss Radio, which is about a 3-year-old program that he developed, although he's had been in the radio business for 22 plus years. So Retirement Boss Radio, relatively new, very successful right now, but probably a little bit pandemic related. I think there's fewer ways for people to get touched. And so the ways that they hear where they can get some financial advice and assistance is maybe making registering with them just a little bit heavier now than maybe it did pre-pandemic type. So thank you for all for joining us here this morning. We're going to have a great show this morning. The coach is going to come on and talk a little bit about Retirement Boss Radio, how that's worked, get you a little insight into some of the financials around it, and talk about the opportunity there. And so looking forward to that greatly. I think you'll be very pleased with some of the results that have been seen and kind of what I would call a cost per lead. And we'll talk to about the ability to kind of build your credibility in your local area as well via radio. So great stuff coming up here today. Thank you again all for joining us. We're going to get done here this morning in about 40 minutes total. I'm going to whip through some things, some reasons that we hope you'll consider doing business with IAMS. And looking at our list, I see probably 4 or 5 of you are relatively new with us, and so probably still available to you are the new producer bonuses. And if you look at the 750 level, you'll see that we're going to get you all set up and get you some recorded shows at the 750 level. It gives you an idea of kind of the cost of setting up radio and what it takes to really get rolling on the radio, and we can make that happen for you relatively, I would say, relatively inexpensively. If you're doing seminars, if you're doing regular mailings, if you're doing whatever you're doing right now to get in front of prospects, there is some cost to that, and I think you'll find, generally speaking, the radio is going to be on the lower end of that. So, but you can see some of the other benefits. So, new producer builders. That what I would say in general is that there you can see that we've incorporated some things that are built to be incentives, a trip to the Ritz-Carlton, but a lot of them are built to help you get additional production in the door, which I think is what you want to do, and obviously we want to help you with that. Couple of programs that we have that I think most of you are aware of by now, but maybe the marketing reimbursement is pretty easy. You do business, we put money in your marketing reimbursement account. You do advertising, send us receipts. We match your spend dollar for dollar, so you can kind of double your marketing power. But the referred producer program is now where we send out the largest checks. Some of that's because we send them out quarterly. Obviously, they're going to build up over time. Some of those go out monthly now. If they get to be over a couple of thousand on a monthly basis, and we're going to go ahead and send it to you that month. We want to get that money in your hands and be appreciative of the fact that you were kind enough to refer someone to us. So it's a big part of the way that we built our business over the past 36 years is really been via referral. So you can certainly take advantage of that program. When you refer somebody to us and they get contracted, we're going to send you a check for $50, and it's no big deal there. Send you out to lunch or whatever. But when they start doing business, that's when the money starts adding up. You'd be surprised on the annuity side how fast 20 basis points can add up when you make a couple of referrals and they get doing business with us. It adds up pretty quick. So hopefully you'll take advantage of that. By the way, nothing comes out of your referees pocket. They have benefit, they have offered opportunity to get everything that you have opportunity to get from. We take that out of our advertising budget and we pay that directly to you. So if you know someone, a colleague, you think might benefit from our on-site training, our webinars, our incentives, our product portfolio, which is extensive and has products available that no one else has available, and the ongoing things that we do from a service standpoint. If you know anybody that might benefit from that, obviously give us their name or send them our way, and just make sure that we get them tagged in the system as a referral from you. That's once they're tagged, then that bonus accrues to you on a regular basis. Back office support, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Everybody talks about it. If you do business with us, you know that ours is exemplary. We're going to do better than what most people expect, do better than what most FMOs do. I think that's an area where we put a lot of effort, a lot of a lot of financial backing behind that team, because we know how important that is and can save you a lot of time and effort. So test out our back office if you haven't already. One of the things that we did 2 or 3 years ago now is we put a single sign-on for Firelight. If you're aware at all of Firelight, then you know that that's the email e-application platform that most insurance carriers use on the annuity side. What we did was we put a way on our website where you can go and do a sign-on from our website to any of these e-app platforms. And the benefit of that is, of course, you're not having to go from website to website depending on where you're doing your business. Also, that allows you to go back. Let's say that you want to do a piece of business with Equitrust, and 3 months later you want to come back and do an application on that same person with another carrier, let's say Athene. Well, you can just go in, take that information, paste it over to your Athene app. Now you got to go through the signing ceremony and verify everything, and make sure, but it saves you a lot of time. If for some reason you have to redo an application, having it on the e-app platform makes that ultimately easier. And what we find, and a lot of our producers tell us, is that clients really do like that sign feature where, hey, we have a conversation, we go through some things, hey, I'm going to get you over that application, you'll see an email, as long as you look at it and you confirm everything, just go ahead and e-sign and get it back. It really is a very professional look, makes your life a lot easier. And we have agents that do a lot of business now, over the phone and via e-app. Certainly our timing on that with the pandemic, where there's not as much face-to-face available, or people are more and more open to doing business at a physical distance, the e-app process is much more accepted. So I hope you take advantage of that. We've got an advertising team here for you. They can do everything that you can think of, if you were going to contact an advertising firm and say, hey, I'd like to do this for my business, they can do all that for you and more. We work with folks like you all day long. They're looking to build their business in the financial services industry. So we've got a lot of great stuff out there that's pre-built and done already. We have a lot of great suggestions that we know work for other folks. We got websites set up that was really very inexpensive, and you got to have that calling card. Unfortunately now, more than ever, people do want to check you online, and you want to have a good presence there. We can help with all of that. So take advantage of our team there. Great stuff on our website. We're always adding to it. We've got a library of tools that I think are second to none, help you grow your business. Soon you'll be able to track your business on our website. So if you haven't looked at a website, go to your sales director, give them a call and say, hey, what's on there? What can I use? What is it that be a best fit for my business? I know we can save you some time and put some tools out there that can really help you. Another tool that we have here internally, we make available to all of our agents that are doing business with us at our expense, is a retirement analyzer. If you're not using a tool like this, I would suggest, especially if you're A, B, and C clients, that you check out closely with Marcus here in our office, everything that Retirement Analyzer can do to help you grow your relationship with your client. Really is a handy tool. The reason that we like it is the quality of output for the ease of input, we think is among the best in the industry. There are some other little add-ons that you can do where you can, the system will automatically go out and grab values for your clients, stock symbols, if you want to put all that information there as well. Automatically go out and grab values from insurance companies. So it really is a one-stop shop. It makes you very, very referable, I think, and I think you're going to find yourself be less one and done with your clients and have more opportunities for additional businesses along the way, because it does encourage an annual review that gets updated on the Retirement Analyzer software. So give Marcus a call and have him go through that with you. Again, we're going to make that available to you at our expense, so take advantage of it. Wealth management is a great way to increase your value to your clients. And if this is something that you've considered or want to do, or maybe in light of the upcoming DOL restrictions or requirements that are going to be placed on everybody in the financial services industry, and I think the ever increasing restrictions and regulatory environment that's going to be around the financial services industry, I think you're going to want to have an outlet for this, whether you're referring it to someone else, whether you're doing it yourself. And we can certainly help you through IAMS Wealth Management. It's our RIA. We can help you get your Series 65 and get set up. We can probably pay you a little bit more than what you might be getting from your current RIA. We pay out not through a grid, so just a little over 1% payout to our advisors, and it's not 80% of 1%, it's 100% of 1%, or a little bit better than 1%. Also, our fees are relatively low, so we can, and the value that we give you, of course, E&O, we're We're going to take care of getting your website, your database. All of that's included in your fees with IAMS Well. So we make that really easy for you. I would encourage you to give us a call here at the office. Talk to your sales director at 800-255-5055. And if we need to put you in touch with Duncan or Charles or Zach or Joan or Mike, and walk you through what they can do for you on the wealth management side, I think you'd be really pleased and impressed. I hope you know about this. I keep telling our folks all day long that we need to make sure that everybody that is an appointment with us knows about this, because this is probably one of the best and most attainable conventions out there right now. We did an 18-month qualification. We're now in what? We've got another 3 plus 6, we've got another 9 months, so a little bit about the halfway point of qualification. It takes 4.5 million points. You get 1 point for every dollar of annuity premium. You get about 11 points for every dollar of target premium, and every piece of business, whether it's life, annuity, long-term care, med sup, every piece of business that you do counts towards your qualification for that. So you and your guest, we're going to start in Rome. We're going to go down around the boot of Italy and come up through, back up through the kind of the straits, and we'll stop in Montenegro, Croatia, and end up back in Venice. So we're going to have everybody sitting, living with the balcony, and you'll be on the concierge level of the ship. So you have 24/7 access to everything. Really is going to be, it's designed to be a great reward for your hard work over the past 18 months. Someone that's just getting rolling with us now can really easily qualify for that. So I hope you're thinking about that if you haven't already, and look forward to having you and your guests join us for that great trip. We're going to sail late August, come back Labor Day weekend of 2022, and we look forward to having you aboard. I hope that you'll take a minute and like us and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. There are some things that we make available there that we don't make available any other place. You get all the updates, you get all the latest news and information. So if you haven't yet, if you're on LinkedIn, just go in and search for Insurance Agency Marketing Services and follow us, and then you'll automatically see what we're sending out there and get access. We've got a great tax package. It was just made available there. We've got a Life Insurance Awareness Month package that was just made available there as well. So hopefully take advantage of that if you're not already. If you are, thank you for following us. We appreciate it. So let's get to talking about Retirement Boss Radio. I gave you a little information on Dave, and I want to say that is a very thin picture of Dave. You're looking great there, Dave, I must say.
Thank you. I'm a little skinny. That's right. Yeah.
It's amazing what you could do with just a little bit of rejiggering perspective. But no, I tease Dave. Dave is in great shape for a man of his age. Let's say that. Besides that,
funny guy. Yeah.
I'm on a roll. But David has 30. He's been in the business since the early 80s. Over 25 years of radio experience. He's done 525, 130 plus seminars ongoing. He's become an expert in the Social Security arena, and he's been a great coach for many of our producers over the years. So we really enjoy the relationship. What he's going to talk about today is Retirement Boss Radio, and I know that just given the opportunity to work in the radio realm, you'll be amazed at what you will build in terms of local celebrity. And that's not what Dave is going to talk about. What Dave is going to talk about actually is how he uses radio to gain 2, 3, 4, 5 appointments every week from his radio show. And so you get the credibility, you get the notoriety. That's a bonus. What you really want is those appointments. And Dave will tell you right now that probably, he does seminars and does some work with mailings on the med sup side, but he's gaining most of his new potential clientele from radio. And I'm going to say that Dave would say that those prospects are the best prospects that he gets from all the ways that he gains prospects. The best come from his radio. So you'll be amazed by the ease of it. You'll be amazed by the relative inexpensiveness of being on the radio. And so let's let Dave walk you through the numbers and see if this might be a fit for you in your business as you look to grow it here at the end of 21 and certainly through 2022. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the coach, Dave Pimper.
Thank you very much, Steve. And thank you for being on our webinar today, Retirement Boss Radio. I've been in the business for 40 years, since July the 9th of 1981. So I celebrated in July of this year 40 years from when I started in this business. And it's been good to me. It's been good to my family. It's been good to my clients. And I'm going to continue to work. And I'm a big marketer. I love marketing. Over 500 539, I think, public workshops that I've done, and been on radio for almost 30 years. Virtually half of that time, 14 years, was with being a radio host. Okay, and that's what we're talking now about, being a radio host. So this workshop is going to take this webinar is going to take 15 minutes. This is not long. It's not. It is in depth, but it doesn't have to be long for you to get the gist of maybe how being a radio host. I'm not talking about radio ads. I've done, again, a lot of radio ads, and I never had much success there. But being a radio host for an hour show, I actually have a co-host. I always, my entire time I've done it, 11 years with, it was a show that I put together called Your Money Matters, and then Retirement Boss Radio, which I did also. But we've kind of franchised this out with IAMS, and I coach for IAMS. So if you got a question, type it on in, and we're going to get through this pretty darn quickly. But why radio? Because a lot of people listen to it. More people listen to radio, in particular AM, than any other device, including smartphone, TV, personal computer. Believe it or not. Median age is 61. I work with the rollover dollars. In fact, I just got a call. I just jumped on. I was a little bit late because one of my clients called, had just left the job, had $159,000 at his old 401k. He said, "I know that you helped me before with my rollover." That's what we do. Rollover business. Talked to the lady yesterday, about $395,000, and it actually goes into proposal, but that's rolling on over from her 401k. So I work with people usually from the age of 57, 58 to about 70. I mean, that's the majority, and that's who listens to AIM Radio. It's not my son, who's 29, works our Medicare end of our business. He doesn't listen to much radio at all. Either does my daughter. They listen to podcasts or something that's on their computer. But the people that have the money, they listen to radio. 93% of it, where household income is 75,000 or more, they listen an average of over 12 hours a household. It's a bunch. Seminars, people know that you've got some smarts to you, but it isn't like when they meet you from radio. It's like, are you really the guy? Yeah, I am. Yeah. And news, radio's hot. Now, Rush Limbaugh is no longer with us. He passed away. He was kind of the granddaddy. He's the one that really took AM radio from a conservative nature. And we've got a lot of liberal folks that are using radio. I mean, you know what? It isn't their persuasion, but money, the color green, it makes no difference if you're a Democrat or a Republican. But talk radio is hot, and it's more conservative. But Glenn Beck, Kim Commando, Dave Ramsey, most of the syndicated national shows are on during the week, and we're usually on, almost always on Saturday and or Sunday. But why are the big celebrities on it? Because they're making money from it. Okay, so let me go through kind of the four, I call it kind of the four pillars of what makes radio, being a radio host, successful. First of all, and I will tell you this, you've got to be in a metropolitan area that's at least 100,000 or more population. More the better, but 100,000 or more. If it gets under that, hard to go in, even if it isn't cost you nearly as much. You just have to have enough people listening. You need thousands at a time listening to your program. So like real estate is location. Being successful on the radio, it's the radio station. Now, the second thing that's important on that radio station is you got to get the right time. If you have the right station at a 2 a.m. time, no one's going to be listening to you, and it's got to be at the right price. That's the triple play. With real estate, it's location. With radio, it's the right station at the right time at a competitive pricing. Is that always available? No, it's not. And we'd rather get in prime time, which is from 7 o'clock on Saturday through about 3, and on Sunday, from 8 o'clock on Sunday through probably 2. I'm on a Sunday at 12. I've got a person doing right now up in the upper north, Midwest, that he's on a fringe time 6, but he's been averaging between 2 and 3 appointments per week since he started a couple months ago. So he's doing very, very well. So it just depends, but it's a great station. It's a great station, and we got a fair price on it, pretty good pricing on it. So that's the first thing. It's the radio station. The second thing is got to have a production company. We have a third party vendor that we've worked with now for over 3 years. We didn't roll this on out to the public until maybe a little over a year and a half ago. But that radio station, it gets recorded. They're in their part of the country. It's recorded, so you can be in your office, your home, could even be a hotel or car, as long as they got internet connection, a good internet connection. But they supply the co-host. I use the same co-host for all of our shows. They supply the show notes. I do redo the show notes, put them into a little easier to understand form, but you have show notes every single show. Okay? And they record it from a software that's on your computer. You hook up by computer. And really the only thing you've got to buy is just the headphones, professional mic. There's a little wind kind of muffler, and we have a little studio box that's foam that we put the microphone in. It's like $225. That's all there is for your upfront money, and you sound like you're just in the studio with them. Pretty darn impressive. So they actually take it, they get it to exactly an hour. They put the ads in it, so it's Dave Pimper with Calton and Associates, Retirement Boss Radio. I want to make sure that they use my name, my company's name, and then Retirement Boss Radio is what we're branding. And I think the last thing that they do is they get it to exactly an hour, and then they put it in the can and get it off to the radio station. So it's a really a good production company. Because it's recorded, it's an hour show. But interesting enough, we repeat the second half hour from another segment. So, what I do today, like I recorded yesterday half an hour, and then I put a half an hour with that I've already recorded. That was the first segment 4 weeks ago. So there's a couple, 2 or 3 that you record in the very beginning to kind of get enough in the can that you can go in and reuse. But you're not taking a full hour of recording. It only takes about half an hour. And with the talk back and forth, maybe 35, 40 minutes. You're done. I do that once a week. If you have a broker dealer like I do, it has to go through compliance. So when I do my show notes, there's things you can and cannot say. Any kind of absolutes compliance departments don't like. Never, always, will be, going to be. It should be, might be, looking forward to. I mean, all those kind of things. So it depends on your broker dealer, but my broker dealer is pretty strict, and I had a little trouble in the first 2 or 3 shows because I said some things, but I have a list of things that just be careful of what to say, not to say, the hot topics, etc. One of the pluses about this is that when the people call in, there's a real strong offer. We say the phone number through the hour time period. We probably say the phone number anywhere from 8 to 10 times, and they call in, and we have an electronic calendar. It syncs up with the call inbound, high end, high touch inbound call center. Yeah, and you know what? Boom, they have my calendar, and it's pretty wild. I mean, you know what? I mean, if I can get 2 or 3 appointments, and I'm averaging more than that, I've had as many as 9 appointments. Hardly ever do I get skunked. I mean, it just doesn't happen very often at all. But the longer you do it, the more people that listen to you. And it takes sometimes some people 3, 4 weeks of listening to you before they feel comfortable to call you to meet with you in person. But it's an inbound call center, and they have one goal. We don't mail out any information. We set the appointment. And I would say out of every 10 appointments, 8 of them are face to face, maybe 2 of them are by phone or Zoom. Might be 9 face to face, one by phone or Zoom. I do more phone actually than Zoom with that end of it. But those are quality appointments. You see, there's a higher dollar amount than what you find really from the radios or from the seminar. I still do seminars. Don't get me wrong, but radio has really been a good complement to that. And then there's myself. If you don't know Coach, if you don't know Social Security, I coach you up on Social Security. That's pretty cool. If you don't know Social Security at no cost, IAMS, the FMO pays me. They stipend me to coach you up on excuse me on Social Security. But then we also go through kind of what to say, what not to say, how to say it. We role play, and then I listen to your first couple, three shows, and critique those with you with short coaching sessions. So you really have someone there working with you that understands radio. Okay, I'll tell you, if you haven't looked at being a radio host, you should. It is it's something. Here, when they actually set the appointment, then I get this on my email because my emails go in my phone, and it's just like it's like Christmas in summer, fall, winter. Yeah, here KFAB. Yes, this is back in March of 19, 8:30 appointment time. Turning 59 soon. Hasn't settled on someone yet. He has a 401k that is seven figure. It actually was like 969,000. Also had questions about Social Security. That we get that. I mean, for every single one, they ask a few questions about it. Okay. If you go to www.retirementbossradio.com, that's our website. www.retirementbossradio.com. There's a white paper on that. You can hear podcasts of myself doing it. I mean, if you call uh, my Lazarus coaching line, you're going to go in and you're going to hear a recording of me doing my show. I actually have it for the background instead of music. I have myself on there doing the show. It's pretty cool, and we get comments from it. So what's the cost? What's the cost of something like this? Well, depending on your area, how competitive the radio station is, we have an outside media buyer. So you don't do anything. We do it all for you. I mean, we want you to be the person that's on air, the celebrity, but we have a media buyer he's great. He has 700 plus shows every week he's purchased radio time for. That's how he makes money. He makes a small percentage of that, but he buys the radio and he can negotiate. We just had one, and we're working on putting on in the southeast part of the nation, mid market, I call it, probably 300,000 population. The salesperson he talked to at the station, and she said nobody's going to do it for a better price than me. He gets done talking to the owners and the powers that be. He got it for 30% less than what she said. No one can get it better than me. He just knows the ins and outs of radio buying. So the cost all in per month, it's probably going to run $3,000 to $4,000. Really not much more, or probably even less than a dinner seminar. But you're on an hour every week. In the month of August, I had 21 set appointments. I had 21 set appointments from radio. Locations are available. I train, I coach, and I coach you up on Social Security too. If that's not your bailiwick or don't know it, because a lot of information, about 30% of our appointments are set kind of around Social Security. That studio in a box, those four components, about $225 out of your pocket. That's the upfront cost. It seems. I remember my mom baking cakes and baking pies when I was a little kid back in late 50s and early 60s. I thought, how can she figure out all those ingredients that go into that? But the end result was good, tasted great. That's the way it is with this. So when you go through the buyer, the media buyer, the production company of everything they do, the call center of how they handle the calls, there's a lot of complication going on. But the end result is a seamless hour-long show, and I'm telling you, we make virtually almost everybody sound good before it's all said and done. What we're doing here is we're getting you more quality appointments. Important. Al Jolson is an old actor. He's deceased now, of course, but he says, I'd like to do radio. I'd like to do radio just like pictures leave the imperfect stuff on the cutting room floor. Well, you know what? You can, because this is a recorded show. My first 11 years of doing this was not recorded, but this is recorded. Okay, so what we're going to do here is Steve's going to bring up a slide. Do you have interest to get more information on radio? And we will absolutely contact you. There's no saying. It says procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow never comes. Well, I'll tell you right now, if you heard something today, maybe I need to look into that. If there aren't many, but if you have enough appointments day in and day out, you certainly don't want to get into radio, because that's the whole goal here. It's an appointment setting machine, and usually much less costly than what people envision it. So, Steve, I'm going to turn this over to you. Steve, I know we've had quite a few folks on the webinar with us today, and everybody's still on. See if there's any questions, but I'll hand it over to you, Steve. If he jumps on.
There we go.
There he is. There he is.
Yeah.
That's all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Always good stuff. There are a few questions, and some of it is there are a few folks that have questions regarding kind of content. So, what do we talk about and how do we get content? And then another question has to do with approved by broker dealer. So you might want to talk a little bit, because I know you have a BD that you run your stuff through. So
yeah. So I did touch on that, but every broker dealer is different. There might be some broker dealers, I would be surprised. I haven't ran into any, but certainly some make you jump through more hoops. My broker dealer, they listen to every one of my shows, or at least portions of it. I know every single one. The show notes always go to my broker dealer, so I want to make sure that I go through all the show notes and I rewrite them. But when I started this with my current broker dealer, I just said, who else does radio with my broker dealer? And they told me, and I called them. And I said, how tough is it from a compliance standpoint? What do you need to do? What's this? I wanted to hear it from the advisor first, and then I contacted compliance. Okay? But they've been, once I kind of knew what I could say and what I can't say, I don't think that I haven't had a call from compliance in 2 years, about something I said.
Sure.
So because I know what I can do and what I can't do. And the first 5 or 6 shows, I think I redid parts of 2. I did 1, and then the show notes, when I was sending that to them, I had to change something on there, because that's what they will actually show, like the feds, if they came on in and got audited. The show that I'm doing for this current session, here was my intro. The rules on inheriting a 401k or an IRA have changed. On today's show, we'll outline some ways to avoid costly mistakes regarding your potential inherited IRA or 401k because of the Secure Act. And there's 2 Secure Acts, Secure Act 2, Secure Act 1. But Secure Act 1 was a 2019, implemented on January 1 of 2020. So I have here, and then we talk about new rules, non-spouse with flexibility, all other spouse beneficiaries, estates and beneficiaries, and then spouses. So what happens, and what I did, I know a lot about inherited IRAs, but you know what? Did I go in and read some more? Yeah. And you become better at holistic planning. The second segment, we talked about the intro, which I say on the show, you've been planning your retirement and it's getting close, and then life happens. An unplanned retirement because of health or layoffs can really throw a wrench to even the most thorough plans. How to deal with unplanned retirement when we come right back. And then there's some ads, and then it goes into the co-host. But my bullet points were assessing financial impact. So it cost, and it talked in here about health insurance. What do you do? Of course, we run a Medicare shop. Okay, we don't run a life shop. We do Medicare, which of course is for senior health. and I let them know that that's what we do. I talked a little bit here about retirement savings, lifestyle changes, taking your Social Security, and mapping out a plan. So you know what? I mean, the week before I talked about RMDs, I talked about Roth conversions. I talked about retire your debt before you retire, maximize Social Security, and I always do a quote. I do a quote, at least one quote, every single show, and this is all you have. Every single bit of this, and the quote that we have this time, which I absolutely love. The quote comes from Zig Ziglar. Steve, you'll like this. He says, "Rich people have small TVs and big libraries. Poor people have small libraries and big TVs."
Oh no.
and that's yeah. I mean, we're just saying education. What that library gives you education. What do we do? I said, what do we do on Retirement Boss Radio? We're trying to educate you. What do you do when we come in? We educate you. There's power in education, and so that was kind of my talk of that. So I probably over talked, but we talk about holistic subjects. So do we go in and give recommendations on fixed indexed or on life or on retirement planning? No, those are broad, holistic retirement subjects that are catch triggers for a lot of people's ears that say, "Hey, I need to talk to them." And Social Security is one of those catch triggers where a lot of people call in on.
Yeah, I know that we've talked over the last 2 or 3 years about the growth in your business, and one of the main drivers has been that Social Security, but I think that's really been in combination, not so much with seminars anymore, and I know you still do some of them fairly regularly, but I think you really have gotten quite a reputation from radio. So talk a little bit about I know the appointments are the key here. We talked about that at the outset, and that's what we're trying to generate here. And you've been getting talk a little bit first about what your appointment levels have been via your radio show over the last 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, I mean, my goal is I want just a minimum of 2 appointments to come in. So, if it's 4 in a third weeks, I mean, I want 10 appointments a month. That's my goal. Last month I got 21. And I think the month before I had 16. Month before I had 18, and then I had a month. I had a month in late spring or early summer. I had 26 appointments set.
From radio.
Set appointments on my calendar from radio. Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you what. I mean, when you're paying out $4,000 or what, that's about what I pay, maybe 4,200. And I'm on the big boy, which I get almost all by, but I'm on a smaller local of my hometown here, and people do hear it. I don't get a lot of calls from it, but what happens is, as you know, Steve. I mean, I stay busy. I mean, I got lots of appointments, and you know what? I'm just telling you, for the folks who haven't marked yes yet, if you want more appointments, I mean, believe me, I don't bite. I'm low key. I just tell you, here's what your area. Now, there are some areas that aren't very good areas. I mean, there are. There are not many, but there are some areas that are just overworked and or over radioed. I'll let you know right away because we know what those areas are. So yeah, absolutely. If you'd like to get more information on this, please mark yes, and we'll call you, hook you up with myself. We'll talk for 15, 20 minutes and just see if radio could be something that could help your bottom line.
Sure. Well, there's no room for anyone to mark because everyone is marked and everyone's marked yes. So you're going to be talking to a lot of people over the next few days.
Well, that's exciting, and I'm excited about it. And you know what? I'll tell you something else. I coach. I start radio, and the deal I made with Steve Murray's firm, CEO, you're talking to here with myself. You know what? I mean, I'm not any kind of an override. I'm not. They stipend me. If you come on board, we're doing radio. It has nothing to do with your commission in any possible way, and that's a really nice thing because as advisors and all of our expenses are higher than they once were. Everything is up, and we're keeping as much commission we can. Doesn't affect any way, but you get someone to help you. So don't get the blueprint and go get them. Go get them, guy. Go get them, gal. No, I'm there helping you. I'm there. Stephen, I use the analogy. You've heard it before, but my wife and I, our kids now are 31 and 29. My boy Sam works the Medicare side of our business now. But what happens is we got this was some kind of put together built in. I don't know if it was a swing set, but it was some kind of thing that you build. And I'm telling you what, we had the instructions, and God, it was like Christmas Eve after they went to bed, and I went through one bottle of wine. I was starting on my. I couldn't figure out. Now, if there was someone there to help me and say, "Do this, do this, do this, don't do this," it says this, but you want to do it like this, you could put it together so much faster. And you know what? That's what I do. I try to help people say the right things at the right time, the right buzzwords, what not to say from a compliance standpoint. I coach you through that. And there really isn't, see, there's other FMOs that have radio that have had success, but there aren't many that have someone that helps them kind of through that and coaches them through that and can be available at any time. And any time you got questions on Social Security or any kind of question, I can certainly help them. That's kind of a unit to have within our industry.
Yeah, we've got what I think is a beautiful combination of allowing people. I mean, there are some radio programs where basically you're just reading a script, and I don't
Right.
like. I've heard some of those. I don't like the way they sound. Really limits the producer and what they can talk about, because there are some things in your area or that fit better into your expertise that you'll certainly want to mention during the course of your radio show. But it's nice to have show notes that you can go from, and it's nice to have Dave available to answer any questions. He'll do some Social Security training with you, because that's a big part of, I would guess that gets mentioned at some level on almost every show, and that will get you some
It does.
interest
It
in other
does.
things. And Dave has kind of established himself around here as a Social Security expert, and by around here I mean kind of the Omaha, Fremont, kind of the eastern part of Nebraska area, because he talks about Social Security so much, and frankly, he does have a high level of expertise there, which he can make available to all of you as well, and then assistance with other questions along the way. I'm amazed, and I would encourage you all. Dave gave you the website, but go listen to a radio show, and people are they think, well, that's not what I'm going to sound like. And that's what everybody sounds like. I mean, they do a great job with the production. They do a great job with every facet of the show, so that you're in. Obviously, if you don't like the way something sounds, you just re-record it. It's a great way to do a radio show, and they've got a great production group that's all part of the deal that helps you with that. So I'm glad that
Hey,
everyone
Steve,
wants to. Yes, sir.
I just thought of an analogy, but um,
Uh-oh.
men don't wear makeup, but women do. And what happens is, and it makes them beautiful. I mean, I tell you what, they add the touches and stuff. And so what we try to do is add that makeup. We try to go in for every radio show, and let's say you've got average ability. When you're done and you hear it, actually when it's cut and when with the co-host, it sounds well above average. We've added some makeup there, and that's fine. I mean, you know what? It's honest, it's legal, but we want to make you sound great on radio, and that's what we try to do each and every time that we're coaching you and helping you to really learn the business. I've done radio for 30 years. I got 15 years as a radio host, 45 minutes or an hour show. So we try to make you look, sound as good as we possibly can.
Yeah, when we put this together, Dave, I know what we were thinking about was, well, we need to have, because so many of our competitors offer radio, but I have been pleasantly surprised, and some of it might have been the timing. You can say what you want, but the fact that the pandemic came along and made seminars tougher and made getting financial advice and information less accessible, should I say, and radio just kind of popped up. It was like, wow, this is a place that people go and they listen and they look and then they call and then they want to call back, and it's a great way to
You're right.
right now, I think particularly a great way to get your appointment numbers up, and then get that side benefit, as I mentioned at the outside, of building credibility locally, so that people know what you do. If you see people at a party, you see somebody at the store, I was golfing
Yeah.
with Dave, and they're like, aren't you on the radio right now? And Dave, well, recording him, he's on the radio, but he
Yeah.
has notability in his area, and that's beneficial. websites. Nobody, people check them, but they don't search you out on a website. On the radio, it's a proactive way to build your local credibility and to advertise what you do, because many of you do things differently than what Dave does, and it's a great way to advertise that in a very educational format and credibility building format. So you all recognize that, because everyone wants to have a conversation with you, Dave. So we can go through there's some other questions which I'm sure will get brought up on the one-on-one. Is there anything that you want to add before we close up today? And certainly I'll ask if there are any other questions that you have, that now would be the time to get them sent over. I'll be glad to get them answered. And I see that one did come in. The question is, can we do less than an hour? So you might talk, I know we did that with Bill, but you want to go over the kind of the timings?
Yeah, you can. You can go, but you know what? Here's what happens is, let's say the radio part of the, let's say you're paying $1,000 a week. That radio part may be, because you're paying for production, you're paying for the call center, you're paying for, let's say it's $1,000 a week. Okay. What happens is if you have a full hour, radio might be $600 of that time slot. Well, you think if you had half of that, it will be $300. Doesn't work that way. It doesn't. I mean, it might be $600 per week for the radio for an hour, and it's $475 for half an hour. So can you do a half an hour? Yes. Yeah, you can. Is it as successful? No, because you're not on the radio. I mean, the longer you're on the radio, the more successful that you'll be. But can we've had, like Bill had success with a half an hour, but he was it also in one of the 5 largest cities in the United States. And he had he had it out because he was a suburbial station, but one of the bigger suburbial stations, and he got some really good appointments from that. So we just talk when we set up the time. We'll talk. We'll take a look at your area, and there might be a half an hour show that we could do. But if I and the radio buyer just doesn't think that there'll be success there, I certainly do not want you to waste your money. I want you to be successful. So we just kind of talk it out and see if that market works for you.
Well, it might be the concern about the time that it would take to record an hour show, and I know you talk through that process and how you do that, and how you kind of build up a bank of shows and then just replay those, which works great, and that takes less time from a producer standpoint. It's less expensive from a production standpoint. It's just really a very, very wise efficiency that you put in the system that's been
you bet.
really well. So question might be is, why is it a time or money issue? And as Dave has explained, you get more than twice your bang in the buck from an hour show. So something to think about for sure, and something to go over one-on-one with Dave when you guys chat.
Yep. But I will say this, when we talk, this isn't like we're talking for an hour or 45 minutes. We talk for 15, 20 minutes, just kind of take a look at your market, answer any questions you have. But the goal here is we want you to be successful. If you're not successful, IAMS is not successful, because they only make money if you write business. So just when we talk, you'll get the feeling, and I'll tell you, it's every market is different. There's some markets better than others, but would love to talk to you. And most everybody said yes too, so I'm looking forward to talking with everybody.
Yep, 100%. So, and I left that poll up for no good reason. I'm going to close that out now. Right. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Dave, for your time. I know we went just a little bit longer trying to answer a few more questions. I would encourage you all, when you have that conversation with Dave, if there's a question that we missed or one that we didn't get the right full answer for you, that you're looking for something else, that'd be a great opportunity to have that conversation with Dave. And if there's a way that we can help you here at IAMS through any of the processes, give me a call. Of course, I'm Steve Murray. My number here is 800-255-5055. We'll be in touch with you very soon. Thank you for tuning in on a Tuesday morning. I know things get busy now. The kids are back in school. The holiday, Labor Day weekend is behind us, and we're kind of in the heat of the battle. So the fact that you take the time out of your busy schedule to join us means a lot to us. We appreciate that. We're biased towards helping you in any way that we can, obviously. So appreciate your business. Appreciate you joining us here this morning. Anything you want to say as we close up, Dave?
No, thank you for your time. Just have a real productive week.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye now.